Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode with Dessert with Andrew and Yvonne. This is not your traditional webinar or dry presentation where you get some information, but you don't know what to do with it. We are going to talk about real life and how it's applied to an actual process in the background that keeps you safe. We've got great guests for you this evening, right, Andrew?
Absolutely. We'll be talking about home care, how to get it, who helps you make sure it's safe, and how you fix your house so you can stay safely in your house. This is a great show. And this internet talk show is a show for you. So we ask you, as we have before, please, we're going to put up a prompt, and please give us some ideas of the type of topics you'd like to see in the future. We're here to do the show every month for you, bringing you guests that are going to bring you information that are relevant and important to the things that are important to all of you. So please, when the prompt appears, let us know what you'd like us to do. And one other thing, I know that we come here, we've been here, this is our third show, and we've had a great response to it, and we've had a great showing in it. And we just really would like you to help us and help us find out how we're really doing. So we're going to give you a survey, but first we'll make you 3 promises and ask you for 1 in return. Not a bad deal, right? 3 for 1, not too bad. So the 3 things we're going to promise you is, although we're going to talk about some serious topics here, it's going to go by really quickly. Time will go by fast. Number 2, you'll have a couple of chuckles along the way, or a smile at least. And then I guarantee you'll leave here with some relevant information that will be helpful to you. And if we keep our promises, we're asking you for 1 promise. Please fill in the survey that you're going to receive. It's really important that we find out where you found out about us and what you thought we did, ranging from a scale of 1 to 10, 1, which means we all should have just stayed home tonight, to 10, meaning really great stuff. And you gave us some great information.
10, 10, 10,
exactly.
10.
And if you have no time later, just fill in all the 10s as soon as you get the survey. Right, Yvonne?
Yes, thank you, Andrew. So included with that, Andrew and I are very staunch supporters of local and community businesses. In each show, we highlight businesses in our neighborhood. That's a way that Beacon and the Estate Planning Elder Law Group can give back. The 2 businesses that we are spotlighting tonight, one of them is called Passion Mexicana. It is a Spanish market, and it is located at 6915 Grand Avenue in Maspeth, New York, 11378. We have a $50 gift card to that market this evening. They have healthy vegetables, fruit, milk, bread, juice, health drinks. They have cooked food, prepared food. So please support that local community market. The next business that we're going to highlight tonight is a pharmacy. The pharmacist is Anthony Teresiano, and we love you, Tony, in that community. I really hope that you can see the show this evening. Anthony's located at 6929 Grand Avenue, Maspeth, New York, 11378. They fill medication. They have commodes, walkers. They have durable supplies. So please support that pharmacy in the community. We have another $50 gift card that we'll be giving away to that shop. So we urge you to shop locally, and that's how we preserve our economy.
And so when we get to the middle of the show, we're going to pick 2 numbers out of a hat. And we're going to ask you to please all enter in the chat a number between 1 and 7. And then we're going to choose 2 numbers, and the 2 who chose the winning numbers first, one will win 1 card, the other will win the other, but each of you will walk away with a $50 gift card to this local business that we hope that you will support, as well as continuing to support us. And
thank you, Andrew. Now on to our show. I am excited to introduce my co-host, Andrew Jaloza. And Andrew Jaloza is from the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group, and he's going to spend a minute or so telling us about his business.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Hi, Andrew Jaloza. I am the principal attorney at the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group. And what we do is, as it says in our name, Estate Planning and Elder Law. We handle situations that span the entire gamut of what that is, from, people starting out needing, plain, advanced directives like healthcare proxy, powers of attorney, simple will plans, guardianship directions, to people doing planning, as we're going to be talking about here tonight, planning to protect your assets, planning to get Medicaid, planning to get, planning to avoid taxes legally, of course. So there's many techniques that we use. Sometimes I've been accused of, this sounds too good to be true, but really how it works is we make the laws work for you. The big companies have, lots of lawyers that help them make laws work for them and the rules work for them. We help even the scale and even the game for people who are just regular people. Most people who just have a home think why am I going to do an estate plan? I really don't have an estate. Well, everybody doesn't need to have a multi-zillion-dollar estate. You have a estate with whatever it is you worked hard your whole life for to gather. It makes sense to gather all of the information, come and have a conversation with us and find out what we can do for you. We can help you get peace of mind by knowing that no matter what happens in the future, you have a plan that you chose to make, and that plan will be in effect. And so the benefits are unbelievable. The peace of mind is just priceless. It makes sense to come and have a conversation. Find us on aljlaw.com, and our phone number is 718-514-2066. We're located in Glendale, New York at 7127 Myrtle Avenue, Glendale, New York. And thank you very much. I look forward, and I know you have a great show ahead of you. Right, Yvonne?
This is exactly true.
So will you talk a little bit to us about you and Beacon
I
Eldercare?
I sure will. And so just to remind everyone, all of our viewers that's watching, Beacon Eldercare is a licensed home care agency. We're licensed in the 5 boroughs in Nassau County. And we have home health aides and nurses. These home health aides do cooking, cleaning, bathing, dressing. They escort to doctor's appointments. As we go through our show this evening, you will see how Beacon Eldercare, providing home health aid and geriatric care management, seamlessly and works with the Jukebox Health with home modifications, works with people like Bernice Shapiro to do geriatric care management assessments, also works with people like Jaloza to do estate planning. So I'm really glad that I'm able to be here with you guys tonight and remind you throughout the show about the home health aides and the nurses, but we are going to move along and introduce the topic for tonight.
Tonight, our topic is, and we have some really great guests to talk about it, as you age, how do you stay safely in your home, get the appropriate care, and how do you pay for it? And we're going to be doing a few polls during our show. And the first one is going to go up on the screen now. I'm going to ask you all to please take part in the poll.
So what I like about the polls is we get a little snapshot on everyone's experience that's viewing. We get an understanding of who's home, who likes what, who's interested in what background. Right, Andrew?
Absolutely. And this keeps everybody involved. Nobody can fall asleep. Every time we're going to be, watching you. We'll know who's answering those polls and not, and we're going to make sure that you participate. So,
all right, don't give the secrets away now.
So Yvonne, are you going to tell us a little bit of a story about your experience?
So yes, what I am going to talk about, especially with the home modification, I have a particular client in the community, and I recently referred Jukebox Health to go and take a look. I had a barbecue at her home, and she was on the top step while we were all sitting down on the lawn furniture, and some of the people were playing basketball. And I said to the home health aide, how come she's not down here with us? And the home health aide said, oh, well, she can't get down the stairs like she used to. She's afraid to come down. See, now I didn't have insight to that because I'm not there every day. But I certainly noticed that she wasn't able to come down the stairs, and that impacts your quality of life, which is why I reached out to a company like Jukebox Health so that they can go in, give me a home modification assessment, tell me what would be the best thing in the home to keep my person safe. And so I think we've got our poll results back in.
I hope we do.
Let's check it out.
Excellent. So if you had a choice, would you rather stay at home as you get older or go to a nursing home? Surprisingly, everyone, almost everyone, 90% said they'd rather stay home. If you live alone, do you know who to call for assistance? Everyone said yes. That's, oh no, 60% said yes, 40% said no. That's about half and half. And is your home safe to grow old in? That was clearly right down the middle. So 50% say they think they're prepared and 50% say they don't. Wait till we hear a little bit from our guest and we're going to find out how well you feel that you're prepared or not.
Exactly.
So I'm going to introduce our first guest. We have Daniel Elliot from Jukebox Health, which Jukebox Health provides full service home modifications to help older adults age in place. Their occupational therapist-led home safety assessment identifies clients' goals and recommends simple modifications or adaptive products that increase safety, comfort, and independence. Yvonne?
So Dan, how did you become interested in home modifications? Because your background is an occupational therapist, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, thanks Yvonne and Andrew for having me on. It's a pleasure. What's actually really funny about the poll is it was 90% of people want to stay in their home. That's actually the same statistic that a large AARP study did as well. So that kind of lines up exactly right. But yeah, so like Yvonne said, I'm an occupational therapist. I guess the first thing is to go into how I became an OT, and it's a quick story, but an important one to me. I used to be a Jones Beach lifeguard, and during a rescue, I got in a really bad accident and wound up hitting my head on the bottom and fracturing 2 vertebrae in my neck. So I was partially paralyzed, airlifted to the hospital. It was a whole big thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened there was, thankfully, I had surgery, everything went well, and I went from being completely dependent to independent again. But in between that period, when I was wanting to come home, there was absolutely no way I could get home. I had 4 steps to enter my house. My family and I had no idea what to do. So to see the care team around me to help me go back to being independent, or as independent as I could be, was what led me to be an OT. And then realizing that a lot of homes are not set up for people, especially in the discharge planning process, to come home when they want to. So that's how I got into home modifications. I have a certification as a living in place professional. When I was an OT doing house call therapy, that's when I started to really notice how many people's homes were also unsafe and fall risks. The same AARP study I mentioned, which was 90% of people want to live in their home as they age, only 3.5% of homes are set up with the critical accessibility feature. So there's a big gap there. And I think that's something that I wanted to address, and that Jukebox Health can definitely address.
Well, I will say you are also an end user, right, of the product, so to speak. You had your own personal injury, and then you were the person that was involved with trying to get back home without the proper modifications. You couldn't even get up the steps of your front door.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
Andrew.
That's amazing. And that I was about to ask you, can you tell us some challenges that you've had, that you personally have experienced or your company has experienced with making home modifications?
Yeah, so it's interesting because home modifications is one of those things that's growing in the occupational therapy field, but it's really hard to enact because you have healthcare and the healthcare system, and then you have home improvement, which is a whole other field. So what Jukebox Health is doing, and what home modifications do, is kind of bring those two together because it's such an important thing for aging in place. Some of the challenges are every person is different and every home is different. So you're not just dealing with the challenges of the person and not just dealing with the challenges of the home, but both put together. Some of the other challenges are people don't want it to look like a hospital. So you have to make sure that your recommendations also line up with their likes, their wants, and their needs. So what it comes down to is making sure that the OT, the clinician, has a really good understanding of the person's goals, their roles, their routines, and how they interact in their environment, but then also having that background of home improvement to make sure that the modifications you recommend can be actually installed or done. For example, Yvonne, with the person that we're working with, to have an outdoor stair lift to be able to access the backyard and actually to provide an emergency exit plan.
Exactly.
You also need an outdoor GFCI outlet. So that's something that some typical OT would never know about, but because we're trained and certified in these things, we know that that's an amenity that needs to go with the stair lift and something that we can coordinate.
And in
Well-
addition to all of that, you also have to make it look good too, right? You have to make
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
look good too.
I'll tell you, it's surprising when you're fine or when you're well and you don't have any disabilities, your home is functional. It's just fine. For instance, myself, I recently had knee replacements, as you know, Dan. And when I was using the walker before, the doorway to the bathroom seemed wide enough to me. But then when I had the walker, the two screws on the walker hit the side of the door of the bathroom. So I actually had to turn sideways and shimmy my way in, which is a
Right.
perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now imagine you're someone, who's aging and maybe you have a balance impairment, to have to do that and get through a doorway can be really challenging and a fall risk, really.
And it definitely was challenging.
Yeah.
So,
Way to work it
Dan,
out.
me too. Dan, how does home modification impact the aging in place?
So like I touched upon a couple of times, a lot of people want to age in place. They want to be in the home that they've been in 30, 40, 50 years. And even more so now with the pandemic, because you have the outbreaks in nursing homes and assisted living facilities, unfortunately. So everyone is leaning towards aging in place. So what we're trying to do is not only provide those home modifications, but also incorporate a holistic healthcare plan for people by incorporating people like yourself, Yvonne, with home care agencies and the home health aides to assist people as they age. Andrew, estate planning, helping them plan and build trusts or whatever it may be around the aging in place and modification plans. And then people like Bernice, nurse and geriatric care manager, making sure that that person is adhering to their medications, is making sure they're getting enough vitamin D, is getting the other healthcare providers around them. Because fall risk is not just in the home, it is a major part, but there are a lot of other things as well.
Well, I like what you said just now, Dan. You are able to draw a straight line between the impact that the geriatric care manager has in the home, medication compliance, and following the doctor's order. And I say sometimes when clinicians go in the home, they myopically just hold their position. So
Right.
your position as OT is, well, they can get the can out of the cabinet, they're good.
Mhm.
But that's not where you're looking at. You're literally looking at every single aspect of the person, which is how it helps to age in place, right, Andrew?
Absolutely, there's no question about it. I mean, you have definitely drawn that line and made it very clear that it's, that all of everyone on this screen is really very relevant and absolutely essential, really essential, not just relevant to the process of getting people to be able to stay in home. It's, like I also had a similar experience as Yvonne did. I had my hip replaced too. And you don't realize how unsafe your home is until you become infirm.
Right.
I walk in and out every day, and if it doesn't trip me, I kind of don't have to move it. But, it's funny though, how much different that is when you have somebody who's infirm, and especially if they're elderly. So thank you so much, Daniel. It's been really great. And we look forward to your further insights here. I see there's a couple of questions in the chat that we'll get to when we get to the question and answer period.
Great.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Dan. And
you.
if you can give us a website or email address, and then you can type in our discussion bar. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Our lovely Tiffany has put it in there for you. So please, if you even have a question or a thought about if your home is safe, please reach out to Jukebox Health.
Thank you.
And now we come to a very favorite part of this show, the giveaway of our gift cards, right?
Yay!
Yay. So everybody, please put a number from 1 to 7 into the chat, and then we're going to pick our numbers, and then we're going to go on to our second poll while everybody's putting in the numbers. So we have some poll questions here that have to deal with our second guest, because Bernice Shapiro is a geriatric care manager. And so once you put your numbers in, please go and answer the questions that we put here so that we can then move on and give out, read the poll and then announce our winners.
So I think we might have the winners. We should have the winners before the poll.
Okay.
Tiffany can just type them in to the discussion bar, and then those people will know their names and who's our winner.
So
And
do you want me to announce the numbers?
I think everybody's
whether they
put numbers in.
Has everyone put numbers in?
Yeah, Tiffany has the numbers.
Okay.
All right, our winners are Lisa Nappi and Crystal Torres.
All right. Ooh, ooh. Congratulations, people. You guys are the winners.
Excellent. So, and now the answers to our second poll, please.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what a geriatric care manager does? 62% said yes. We have a very educated group.
Yes.
Have you ever used the services of a geriatric care manager before? Actually, 100% said no.
Wow.
Wow, that's surprising. That is surprising. And
Wow.
did you know how a geriatric care manager helps seniors stay in their home? 69% say no, 31% say yes. Well, by the time we finish, you're going to know. So
You are
thank
going
so
to
much
know.
for taking our second poll. And now I'm going to introduce our second guest, Bernice Shapiro, who is a geriatric care managing nurse. She is an RN with over 30 years of clinical, academic, and administrative nursing experience working with the elderly and infirm. As a former director of nursing and clinical services for one of the largest not-for-profit guardianship agencies, Bernice oversaw the clinical and medical needs and care of elderly incapacitated individuals. She has the experience and unique skill sets to address all levels of care for the elderly. As a geriatric care manager, Bernice can evaluate the needs of her elderly clients, develop and maintain individual care plans, and ensure that each individual receives care and treatment to ensure their safety, security, and medical well-being. Bernice's extensive contacts with home care agencies ensures ongoing, consistent direct care will be provided to maximize a client's ability to remain in their community residence. So, Bernice, how did you first get into doing home geriatric care management?
So first of all, thank you, Yvonne and Andrew, for having me. I appreciate being part of this panel. My background is really variable. I started off as a pediatric nurse. So I spent the first 15 years of my career as a pediatric nurse, and then I ended up working in the nursing home setting, making sure that nursing homes were compliant, taking care of the elderly. And then from there, I ended up working in guardianship. And as you said, I was the director of nursing for a guardianship agency. And we really oversaw the care of these individuals. I was responsible for the entire clinical department and making sure that these people were really cared for with dignity and with all the resources that they needed. I then went out on my own about 4 years ago and have been working mostly with the elderly in the community and also with the courts to assist these individuals to age with dignity and the proper care that they should receive.
And I'll tell you, Bernice, the fact that you say age with dignity is really important because all of these people, I tell my employees, and I also tell people in general, when you see someone sick in the bed, you have to credit them for having a life, right? That's a doctor, that's an attorney, that's an accountant, that's a police officer. You know, these are accomplished people, and everybody in life, they go through their high and then they become older and then more ill and less able to take care of themselves, but that doesn't discount their accomplishments. So I'm really glad that your vision includes dignity, because it's very important.
Right.
So how does the fact that you're a nurse enhance your ability to be a geriatric care manager?
So as a nurse, I think I bring a perspective, a clinical perspective that's a little bit different than yours, Yvonne. I know you're a social worker and work as a geriatric care manager as well. And we each come from different, clinical aspects of our education and expertise. For me, I look at things obviously as a nurse, looking at, diagnoses is a big part of it. As Daniel said, the medications that these individuals take becomes a big part of their care plan. I can, also bring that back to some of the other areas that Daniel mentioned, that some of the modifications that we need, but assessment is a really big tool in nursing care. We have to, go with our assessment tools and figure out, what do these individuals need? Are they able to participate in their activities of daily living? Are they able to take their medication properly? Are they able to put it in the proper place in their little pill trays? Or can we help them maybe have a delivery system that will send the medication already pre-poured for them? Do we have to get them referred to new doctors that maybe they can't get there anymore? They can't get out of their house. So can we get doctors to come into their home to provide their care? What type of, Daniel deals with physical modifications, but what type of clinical modifications can we make to that individual when they're living in their home?
And what I will tell you, Bernice, is medication management is key. And the fact that part of your expertise happens to be a registered nurse, we work on cases together, and we have some clients that say, oh yeah, I know the doctor says on the bottle, this is the time I'm supposed to take that medication, but I've been taking it at this time. And then we're like, no, that's not clinically recommended. Yeah, you're smiling, right? And so now we have to explain to someone that's decided that I understand the time the doctor told me, but this is the time I'm going to take it. That's not necessarily the way things should be.
Exactly. And to speak to that, families can be extremely challenging when we deal with the elderly in their homes, whether their families are nearby or whether their families are, living at a distance. I can be the contact person to make sure that the families can be included if that's something that will assist the elderly, or if they're far away, I can keep them advised of what's going on as far as their loved one in their home. And families are very challenging when we care for the elderly.
Yeah, they absolutely are. They are very difficult to deal with at times, and we have to use the services of geriatric care managers like you to make sure that our clients get the benefits that they can get to the maximum extent, and that basically we know that we hand them off to you because we help them on one aspect, and then you move it along to make sure that they're safe at home and getting the care they need and getting the clinical help they get. So can you tell us a little bit about why your assessments are so crucial to keeping people so safe at home as a geriatric care manager?
Sure. So there are many types of assessments that can be done to maximize the care that the individual receives. One of them is to assess what their activities of daily living are, to assess their nutritional status. When you open the refrigerator, is there food in that refrigerator? You'd be surprised how many people we go into and there is no food. There might be cat food for their cat, but they might not have food. So nutritional assessment is a big part, and we could hook them up with services such as Meals on Wheels or other food delivery services. There are ways that we can help those people. Depression, we can assess an individual for depression, especially in the elderly. Are they now at home alone with nobody to speak to on a daily basis? And depression becomes a very big piece of our care. A dementia assessment, we have to make sure that these people are able to function in their homes, and if they can't, what can we do to assist them? Home care, again, services in their home, delivery services. Do they need a life alert system? So if they fall, who's going to be there to help them if they have nobody in their home? And also to get them the maximum, I think home care, and this is where Yvonne's piece comes into play, and we do work a lot together, getting those proper home care services in place. There are agencies that are not able to give comprehensive services, and they're missing, they're really missing out. So, based on our assessments, we decide what is it that this individual needs and how can we help to provide those services. And then I can oversee all of that care that's being provided by the different, whether it be agencies or, other providers to the individual.
Right. So, also in terms of these assessments, these geriatric care management assessments, sometimes people, out-of-town family members, if they're not there, they talk to mom and dad twice a week, 3 times a week. It's the same 12 to 15-minute conversation that mom can answer the questions blindly. Once you go into 17, 20, 25 minutes, then mom falls off track. So the great benefit of having someone like you, Bernice, geriatric care manager, is you can provide a snapshot of what's happening in the home to out-of-town family members, which really provides a very big level of relief. Wouldn't you say, Andrew?
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Because especially when they're living far away, when family members are far away, they really don't have any idea what's going on there. And the services that you provide, that that Yvonne's company, Beacon Eldercare provides, I mean, it's just essential to people, to give people that that sense of peace of mind, that know that their loved one is being taken care of and they're being taken care of well. It's really just an amazing thing. How we form a network, and help people on all different levels. And thank you so much, Bernice, for joining us on our show tonight. We appreciate everything you do for our clients and the patients that you see and the families that you serve. Please share your information with our viewers. How they can get in touch with you or Tiffany will put that up on the in the chat.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Bernice. It's a team effort to keep people safe in the community, and I appreciate everything you do. So thanks for being on the show.
Yeah. So, and at this point, I'd like to introduce my co-host, who is going to talk about Beacon Eldercare's role in how this network of people help people stay at home, help people stay safe, help people get the care that they need. Right, Yvonne?
Absolutely, Andrew. So first, what I want to say is, in speaking to people after the show, I hear feedback where they say, "Oh, Yvonne, I was waiting for you to say something during the show that would blow me away." That I go, "Oh my God, I have to pick up the phone and call Yvonne Murphy right now." So it's difficult to get something like that across in such a short period of time. But I will talk about one of my experiences with a client that ties into what we're doing right now. So did you know the importance of staying home is so paramount to some people that they'll even stay home without services? The fact that they're so fearful to leave their house that they would refuse to leave the home and literally stay home with nothing. This is a very, very scary thought. I have long-term clients that initially start off with family members thinking there's no possible way that mom will be able to stay home. They're contacting my agency because they want to put mom in a nursing home placement. My question to the family members are always, why nursing home placement? Why do you think, or what do you think you'll get out of nursing home placement? And what do you think cannot be done in the comfort of your own home? Why you're calling about nursing home placement? Now, we have clients that have resources, and so they have a few more options. Some are even willing to pay privately at a rate of $14,000 a month just to make sure mom is safe, because they have that nursing home concept in their mind. But unfortunately, in the past year and a half, we have come to find out that nursing homes might not necessarily be the safest place for you. So maybe we take a closer look at that house that you live in. I have one particular client that comes to mind. We've been providing services for them for 8 years now. When we first received the intake to the out-of-town family members, they were just looking to hire a geriatric care manager to find a nursing home, box up the house, and they're going to put the house up for sale. That's all they wanted to know about. But when I had a conversation with mom, mom expressed to me that I grew up in this house with my parents. I got married and my husband moved into this house. We had children and I raised my children in this house. So that little old lady, she doesn't want to know about nursing home placement. She just wants to know, how can my family members figure out how I can stay in my home safely? So let's take a closer look at the house. Number one, mom sleeps on the second floor, no elevators. It's very difficult to get up and down the stairs. Mom can no longer cook for herself. She can't clean the house. It's increasingly difficult for her to manage her day-to-day nutritional needs and medication. Well, this is when an agency like Beacon Eldercare gets involved, and we recommend home health aid services. The home health aide goes in, she does cooking, cleaning, bathing, dressing, medication reminders. I also implemented geriatric care management. The geriatric care manager sets up the doctor's appointments, gets this information back to the family members in a timely manner. And I refer her to a company like Jukebox Health for home modification. We got a stair lift. We had a shower bench installed, removable shower nozzle, raised toilet seat, adjustable hospital bed, wheelchair, reclining chair. These are just a few simple modifications that we made in the home to keep the person safe, in addition to having access to home care. This particular client has now been home for 8 years. We started out 7 days, 7 hours, 7 days, 10 hours, 7 days, 12 hours. And now through the proper planning, estate planning with an estate planning attorney, they have 24 hours of care round the clock paid by Medicaid. And they have a team of people that can help with doctor's appointments and to get information back to the family. So Beacon Eldercare has been able to maintain this client in the community for 8 years, when the initial phone call that I received was how to put mom in the nursing home. That's the benefit of speaking with professionals in home modification, geriatric care management, and estate planning. Now my little old lady, she's in her 80s, she's home, she could pass away in her home, and people don't realize that their home has a resource. You know, some people are property rich but cash poor. We turn to somebody like Andrew Jaloza and the estate planning law firm so that they can help use your resources to pay for your affairs. And I will slide that right over to Andrew so that he can talk about that.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. That was, a great example, because it happens to our clients all the time. It's just a perfect example of how they come in. They don't really have any idea what they really need. And everybody, everybody has an idea what's best for mom. Nobody really asked mom what they wanted to do, right?
No.
You asked mom what they wanted to do, and they didn't want what everybody else wanted. And thankfully, there is a network of professionals and businesses that work together to make staying at home and aging in place possible. Home modification companies like Jukebox Health, your company to help, with the home health care and the people coming in, Beacon Eldercare to do that. And the geriatric care managers like Bernice to manage all that, the medicines and the doctor's appointment, making sure that they're safe. And then there's us who help, get people in a place that there are government benefits if you know how to get them for your clients. And that's what we do. We help and we work together to attain the result of, she's now in the house, she's now there for 8 years with
8 years.
24-hour care at this point. And we've done the same thing. I did the same thing for my grandfather. And that's exactly why I practice this type of law. Because when my grandfather was aging, he wanted to leave a legacy for his family. He was a blue collar worker and he saved a little bit of money, and he wanted to make sure it went to his family. And we watched what happened. And people friends had to spend down whatever they had in their last illnesses as they got older. And he kept talking about his legacy, and I kept talking about planning until he finally listened to me. And we did some planning for him. And, as he slowed down when he was 93, because he can no longer take the train into the city to come see me, have lunch at the 2nd Avenue Deli, we had to have people come in to help him. And my grandfather, fortunately, lived to 99. And he passed away in his own bed with 24-hour care, people taking care of him. And he died peacefully, knowing that he could give away everything he worked for and saved and scrimped to give to his family. Everyone wants to stay in their house, I think. Nearly everyone. They've lived there 20, 30, 50 years. It's the place
Yep.
where they feel safe. It's the place they've been secure for so long. And most people think that, because all they have is this house, there's no reason to do any estate planning. And the truth is, with the way the programs work, if you don't do some planning in advance, the benefits may not be as expansive as they can be, because they have look-back periods now. Now, Community Medicaid is going to have a look-back period of 2.5 years or 30 months. It's no longer going to be that you can wait till you need to get care and just walk in and get it and get it in a few months. It's going to mean that once you apply for care, they're going to look back to see what you gave away to reach that level of asset, that asset level that qualifies for Medicaid. And it's going to be a penalty period of 1 month for every $13,000 you transfer away. So when you have a house and you transfer away your house, that's a lot of months of penalty.
Oh, yes.
So there is, at this point, an opportunity to protect that wealth that you've created. That house is your wealth. You've worked hard, sweated hard, managed to maintain the house through good and bad all these years, and your home is for your family. You want to pass it on as generational wealth to the next generation so that they have a head start. With planning, you can protect all of those assets and do it in a way that you can protect the maximum amount possible. So there is, at this point, a very short window of opportunity, we call it, because on January 1, 2022, the new laws that were implemented during the pandemic, creating this look-back period for Community Medicaid is going into place. So if
Yes.
you're interested in enacting a plan that's going to help you get Medicaid if you have need right now, in other words, if you're having issues with your activities of daily living, you want to stay in your home and you want to protect your home, you need to act quickly, because in the next 3, 4, 5 months, there's going to be starting with a 15-month look back and growing to a full 2.5-year look back if you apply after January 1. So, I urge you all, whoever needed, to talk to myself, but make sure that you also involved with people at Jukebox Health to make sure the house is safe for mom and dad. Bernice Shapiro is a geriatric care manager to make sure you have all the plans in place, the assessments, so that you can get the maximum number of hours possible too. It's and the professionals at Beacon Eldercare to make sure that they help you get the people in there to help you to also, and they will assist in getting the maximum amount of hours possible. Let the
Right.
experts advise you on how to make the house safe, get the right people in there, and as most importantly, how to take good care of your loved ones and show you how the best way to pay for it is, right? So that's what
Exactly.
we do. On this, panelists on this screen all handle that whole range of services that make sure that you're in good hands at all times.
Exactly. So Andrew, I think now in the show, we would love to open it up and take some
Yeah.
questions.
I think we have about 10 minutes to do that, right?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. So people who want to either raise your hand so that we can unmute you to speak, or put your answers in the chat or the question and answer, we would love to do that. I think that we have a question for Dan from a little while ago. I have to think.
Yeah, I have that's pulled up. What are some low-cost modifications homeowner can do?
Okay.
Excellent.
So interestingly, a lot of people think that the bathroom is the place in the house you're most likely to have a fall. It's actually the bedroom. And this is because a lot of people have to get up to go to the bathroom at night. Maybe their medications have worn off at that time. They're changing from a position of lying down to sitting up. And then they're getting up and walking potentially in the dark to the bathroom and maybe rushing. So a lot of times falls occur in the bedroom and on the way to the bathroom. So what we like to do is kind of offer like a safety package that takes everything from your bed to your bathroom. So that means putting in a bed rail, putting in automatic lighting. So as soon as your feet touch the floor lights up, making sure there's motion sensored lights in the hallway on the way to the bathroom, making sure there's no door saddle, and making sure there's grab bars near the toilet, near the entryway. And that's kind of a really good way to initially reduce your risk for falls. And it also looks really great too when the lights come on automatically and everything like that. So, and all of those things that I just highlighted are really cost effective as well. You're not doing any crazy structural changes or anything like that. So,
Okay.
Great. Do we have any
Does
other
it,
questions?
does insurance pay for any of this stuff, Dan? Like, any kind of insurance pay for anything that you do?
yeah, so you mentioned the pharmacy that does the DME, the durable medical equipment. Those are the things like hospital beds, tub benches, raised commodes. Those are covered by Medicare, but unfortunately, Medicare only covers a very finite amount of things. However, with the healthcare landscape, they're shifting to begin coverage for these home modifications. So Medicare hasn't picked it up yet, but there are Medicare Advantage plans
Mm-hmm.
that are offering supplemental benefits for home modifications. So that's a really exciting trend that we're seeing, because they're watching studies like the study at Johns Hopkins, which was called Capable, where they had a nurse, a handyman, and an OT go in and spend around $1,500 on home modifications, and they found that falls dramatically decreased and function increased. So
Wow.
we're trying to get a little bit ahead of the curve and seeing that these things are starting to be covered. But on the other end, if you're on a Medicaid plan, you can talk to your case manager and they will cover some of the modifications. I had a woman who moved in with her daughter, and it was a second floor co-op. The only way she could access the home or leave was for a stair lift, and she got the stair lift covered. And then there's other things like long-term care plans, like John Hancock, New York Life, and Bright House Financial. They have riders in their plans that cover usually somewhere between $15,000 to $25,000 of modifications.
Wow. That's fantastic.
That's great. You see, we have
So
a hands up, and
I think we have some other questions, right?
Tiffany, can you unmute her?
Hi,
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Hi,
how are
Lisa.
you? I just want to say, first of all, this was a very informative meeting. Thank you so much. I learned a lot tonight. But I
Okay.
have a question. I want to know, can you tell me how someone can get home care?
Yes, Lisa. So Beacon Eldercare, you can, well, one, you can reach out to Beacon Eldercare at 718-406-9500 extension 0. And what we will do with you when you do that is we'll help you contact your doctor so that you can get a doctor's order so that your home care could potentially go through your insurance. So if you have a skilled need, then your Medicare will pay for a skilled need, which is physical therapy, occupational therapy. If you have long-term needs, then, and you need home care for an extended amount of time because your disability is not going to get better, then there's other ways we can discuss to pay for that home care, which Andrew can talk about in terms of Medicaid. But for you to get a home health aide in your house, contact Beacon Eldercare. Info@beaconeldercare.com is the email, and we will guide you through your doctor so that your home care can be paid by your insurance. So that was a great question. Thank you very much for asking.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank
we have
you.
another couple of questions from Denise. Has said she remodeled her bathroom, made sure she put in higher height toilet, lever handles on the faucets and shower, handheld shower head, safety rails, few other things. And can you suggest any other things that she can do to make it safer in interim prior to her aging? You want to handle that one, Dan?
Yeah, so those are all great things. I would make sure that there's some sort of adhesive bath mat in the shower, not a suction cup one, because those really stay in place. Again, definitely making sure that the lighting is appropriate. It sounds like you're doing all the right things to make it safe in the bathroom. There are some other things to consider as you move along in the aging process. So for example, now motion activated lighting, which is even just switching out the light bulbs. There's things like personal hygiene toilets, which have the bidets, which are not as popular in the United States, but they're getting more popular. But those really help with toilet hygiene and stuff like that. So I think if you have the general layout, making sure the doorway is wide enough, the shower is accessible, and the toilet's high, there's other things that you can add on if you're finding that they're a problem, such as tilted mirrors or wall mounted sinks as opposed to vanities. So you can sit down at the sink.
Great.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
that's good. The wall mounted vanity
Yeah.
is good because you can just wheel your wheelchair right up to the sink.
Right.
The vanities that have the cabinet under it, you can't do that. So that's interesting that you said that.
Do we have time for one more?
I think so. We have
what- We have one more question. Mabel asks, what grants are available, if any, for modifications for someone going into a new home as an aging adult who is disabled?
So that's something where you would definitely want to talk to like a geriatric care manager or social worker as well, because they're very up to date on the grants. As of now, there is a HUD grant, Housing and Urban Development, that is funding some of these projects. And depending on the disability, there are disability specific foundations that will cover some of the modifications or help you along the way. But that's a really good question to also link to Andrew about funding your modifications. So that would be.
Good news is that there are strategies strategies in applying for Medicaid that will help you to pay for those modifications.
That's
We
correct.
can help you at the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group. Give us a call, 718-514-2066. That is going up in the chat. And, great job, everybody.
Oh,
Really.
Crystal Torres. Did you see Crystal Torres? Good evening. what
Document is needed to, okay. What documents are needed to protect her assets while applying for Medicaid? Well, most people use Medicaid trusts, right? So that's what we do. We assess the situation. We use the best recourse possible. Most times we find that we need to use a Medicaid trust to help shield your assets so that it's not a countable resource, protects it so that there's no estate recovery, and and various types of other strategies of planning to make sure that the money is available, and then that you can use that money and spend it down to get that, they can use it to spend down that money on home health care improvements to make sure that, Dan's company's services are taken care of, as well as making sure that everyone else is in place to help take care of their loved one, because Medicaid will provide benefits. And, sometimes we can only getting an overnight aid is not always the easiest thing at first. But as my friend Yvonne says, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. You heard Yvonne's story. It started out with only several hours a day, and it turns into 24 hours with the right kind of people working for you. People who will advocate for you and make sure they get the right assessment so that, with help and with perseverance, anything is possible here. And, again, if you don't try, and if you don't seek out answers, and you think that maybe you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Hey, that's my line, Andrew. I say that. That's correct. You do not know what you don't know. But if you know me and Andrew, we can help you to understand a lot. If you know Daniel and Bernice, we can help you to understand a lot. I always say,
Absolutely.
ask the expert. Don't go to the plumber to get your Medicaid application done. Go to the expert. Okay?
Indeed.
Any
Yvonne,
more
you want to
questions?
remind them about our survey?
Yes, we have a survey at the end, and we would like input from everyone. It's from 1 to 10, tell us if we did a good job, or to take Andrew's line, or if we should have just stayed home, which I don't think that's the one we're going to get, is a 1. 10,
Right.
10, 10.
Right. Yeah, and also we'd like to know where you found out about us, please. It's really important to know how our efforts to get the word about this show out is working too. So thank you very, very much for showing up. And
Yep.
we're gonna.
We got 5 minutes left, so I'm just gonna say a few things. I'll split this time with Andrew. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Bernice. Thank you, John Sanchez from Queens Ledger. In terms of Beacon Eldercare and our dessert with Andrew and Yvonne, please go to YouTube and subscribe to Beacon Eldercare on YouTube so you can get the most up-to-date information. Like us on Facebook, Beacon Eldercare on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And we're just really glad you joined us this evening for the show. info@beaconeldercare.com, and beaconeldercare.com is the website. So we're looking forward to providing great service for you. Andrew?
I thank you, Yvonne, and thank you all for spending some of your precious time with us, really. You could be doing anything, you could be doing some knitting, you could be watching, something on television. Thank you for spending some time with us, because as Yvonne does say, and I'm going to give her the credit for it, you don't know what you don't know, and unless you come and you learn and you have a place to get the knowledge, most people make a lot of bad moves that are some of them irreversible. You never know what's going to be what's going to happen if you don't get the knowledge to empower you to be able to make good decisions for your family and your loved ones. That's what we talk about here month after month. And Dan, thank you so much for coming, and Bernice as well, because I think that giving people some insight into what crucial parts you play in the lives of seniors and the lives of our you don't have to be a senior, right? I mean,
Right, disabled,
Dan,
someone with a disability.
exactly, Dan, you have the personal experience of what happened, and I know you're still a young guy, so that happened some time ago. And I mean, it happens to most of us. Most of us have some kind of situation where we're going to be impaired in some kind of way. And it's important to know who to reach out to make sure that you can get the help when you need it.
And Tiffany, you're going to put the survey up? Because we're running down our time.
The survey will actually come up in their browser the moment that they leave out. So we'll be able to get their surveys at the conclusion.
Okay, okay.
The way the survey works, it's something that we look at after, because they have to fill it in. They get notified as soon as we close out, just like the planning ahead, right? So you have to plan ahead here, because if you don't plan ahead, a failure to plan is a plan to fail.
Got that right.
Because if you're sitting there and you have this house and you love your house, as you're getting older and less healthy, if you don't make some kind of plan, there's going to be a problem. Staying in your house, leaving it up to fate to see what happens is not a good idea. Because if you act early, you begin planning, you can make the decisions, and then the things that you want to happen will happen in the way that you want to. Everybody here can help you. Unfortunately, all of us are for-profit businesses. You have to pay to be helped, and you can use your money that you have to get the help and still get the help from the government if you plan ahead.
Well, Tiffany, I just want to say a very big thank you to you for being the captain of this ship this evening. I appreciate you. Andrew appreciates you. The show appreciates you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany, for that great intro too. That great intro for Dessert with Andrew and Yvonne. Next month, September 30th, 2021, 7 p.m., same bad time, same bad channel. We'll be doing senior financial literacy. We have two great guests, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Bernice, and thank you, Yvonne.
Review
Thanks,
the
everyone.
chat bar. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Bernice. Everybody's information is in the chat bar. Please utilize the professionals that we have on. Thanks, Bernice.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Another successful show, Andrew.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap, folks.
There you go.
Okay.
so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.